ahead and start. I'm introducing you as Joyce Erb. She's a local artist here in Charleston, part of the Charleston Artists Guild, and is also an exhibiting artist in the Charleston Artists Guild Gallery. So Joyce, tell me a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm an oil painter, and particularly since I've moved to Charleston 7 years ago from up north, I've gotten more and more engrossed in painting. I didn't start out as a painter, but I have connected since I've been here with a couple of people who've really been very instrumental in helping me learn about painting and just sort of becoming part of the community, the artist community here.
Okay. You said you didn't start out as a painter. So what was your career? What is your career? What's your background?
Mm-hmm. So actually, my background is I'm trained as a lawyer, and I worked in, I was a member of the Connecticut Bar and the New York Manhattan Bar for about 10 years. I can't say that I was an unhappy lawyer because it was really very fascinating, the work that I did. But it was very demanding and not really particularly suitable to having a family or whatever. I was commuting. We moved to Connecticut. So I was commuting on the train about an hour and a half every day to downtown Manhattan and traveling a lot. My work involved a lot of travel. So it was very interesting. I worked with companies that were going into the capital markets to raise money. And so the essence of that work is that you have to be able to describe completely and fairly what they're doing in a document. And so you have to be a very curious person to be interested in that. And I guess that's one of the, through lines between what I was doing then and what I'm doing now, is that, it's been just my curiosity that's propelled me to how do you do that? Mm-hmm. When I first started, I met Lori Meyer, who has a gallery downtown and is a venerated local art painter. Somehow or another, convinced her to start giving me lessons, even though most of her students are professional artists. So at the time, I really didn't have much art background, and it was frustrating. It was difficult for me. There was one point where I had sort of an aha moment that I thought, I can do this. And it was the lesson she gave about E-R. Drawing and painting is all about This thing is bigger, that's smaller. This one is darker, that's lighter. So I thought, oh, well, this is analytical. I can use my analytical skills to do this. It's certainly not, it takes more than that, but that was enough to sort of get me over the hump. And it was, as I said, my aha moment.
You make me want to take lessons from Lori.
Well, yes. Yeah, she's a great teacher. And so I'm still working with her. And I owe an awful lot to Lori. And she also introduced me to another artist who's been very instrumental in my development, and that's Leslie Pratt Thomas. Leslie shows downtown at I think it's called the Dare Gallery. There's a branch of it on Sullivan's Island as well. Terrific painter and a lovely, lovely lady.
They are who you would consider your artistic mentors?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I know you mentioned to me before that you had went over to Europe, and that was a big part into why you got into the arts.
Well, yeah. So that was a long time ago. That was right after I got out of college. I was working as a legal assistant in New York, and I just sort of landed in that job. And they had there was a case in that involved a Swiss company. And so they sent me and my best friend over there, who was trouble, um, along with one of the lawyers who felt, really responsible for looking after us. And so we spent actually a really, really dull week in Geneva in the basement of this, some headquarters looking at accountants' work papers. And she said, Joyce, let's go to Paris on the way home. And I had never been outside of the country. And she had lived in Paris. So we went and shared a classic room in a dumpy little pension. We did the, Reader's Digest tour version of Paris in a weekend. And first we went to the Louvre, and I had not, I had a whole lot of exposure in the arts, but, I'd seen pictures of stuff and everything. So everybody wants to see the Mona Lisa, and we lined up behind this just never ending queue of tourists to see this teeny tiny painting. I was like, okay, I guess art is not really, really for me. And then the next day, we went to the Orangery to see this room with these great big round walls that Monet had painted, these like 20-foot tall canvases all the way around this room. And it was amazing. And then we went to the Musée d'Orsay, where all the Impressionists are. And I was really moved to tears. I was so just grabbed, thunderstruck, really, by that art and the ability of those people to, just reach out across the years and the divide of cultures and everything, and just touch you so much. So for me, to be able to think that I can create a painting, not a masterpiece, but a painting that brings people joy and happiness, it's just an amazing.
Yeah. To touch somebody's emotions like that.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest thrills of being an artist. I agree with you on that. Let's talk a little bit about your art. What inspires you?
Well, Charleston, South Carolina inspires me tremendously. And when I first came here, every spring, I would walk around and just be in awe of the magnolias. And, to see these great big shrubs or trees with hundreds of beautiful blossoms on them is one thing, but then to just stop and hone in on one and really, spend some time getting to know it, and how the light plays with the leaves and you can see through the blossoms and stuff. I just love that. And I did that every spring for the first couple of years that we were here. But I'm interested in a lot of things. I started out doing the flowers, and then I had a lot of success doing like gift boxes, Tiffany boxes, ribbons, bows. Then that moved into ballet slippers. The other thing that has been very popular is the champagne bottles and wine bottles. People like to, I don't know, they like to buy those.
Yeah, I'll have to check those out. I haven't seen them yet. I remember.
I'm not sure whether I have one lined up for you. But now I'm sort of moving into bigger canvases. I'm interested in skies and clouds and sunsets, and I still don't have anything to go over my couch at home.
Painting for yourself is secondary when you.
Yeah, it's like the shoemaker's children who have no shoes.
Right.
Because every time I do something that, is really good, it goes out the door. So that's a blessing. I really like doing those Tiffany boxes. They're very feminine. There's something about a gift box, there's a mystery of who's giving it, what's inside of it, what's the reaction going to be. They intrigue me. But I have not done my favorite painting yet.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. So I see, like, right behind me in the shot here is a piece that I'm working on of New York City, which doesn't really fit in any of those categories, but I like not being that categorizable.
Well, and it's good to be challenged, to do something out of your norm, to challenge you.
Is based on a photo that I took on the last trip that I went back to New York, and I didn't know it was going to be, the last trip, but it was
pandemic,
right? December of 2019, and so it's really, been very powerful to me. Here in South Carolina, life has really gone on more or less. I don't know whether I'd say it's usual, but my friends in the rest of the country are so, really impacted by all of this. And from what I hear, New York is really, may never be quite the same.
Yeah. We have family up there too, so
yeah,
I know how you feel.
Yeah.
So do you have any memorable responses that someone has said about your work? It could be good or bad. We've all had those strange ones.
Yeah. Someone will walk into the gallery and will just say, that, I want that. Because it makes me feel good, because it's fun. Those champagne bottles seem to have that effect.
Yeah.
The celebration things, and the gift boxes as well. I just sent out a portrait that I did of a young 13-year-old boy. He wanted to be painted in his on the field, in his athletic wear. So today's his birthday, and he's turning 14. So his parents are going to unveil his portrait. So
you haven't yet heard the response.
I have not heard his response. I know his mother is thrilled.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wrote him a little note with it, like, maybe we could do this again when you get grown up.
Yeah. Don't you wish you were the fly on the wall, though, when he's opening it and seeing it?
Absolutely.
What's your dream project?
Well, yeah, so I have a lot of dreams. It's been a dream of mine to have a proper studio in the house, which I just really accomplished. And at the same time, when I show you the studio, you'll see that there's really nothing on the walls, because for two reasons. One of them is that I have these brick walls in the studio, and it's not the kind of thing that you're really want to be drilling a whole lot of holes in.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's 3 sides are windows and doors. What? No. Yeah, 3 sides of this room are windows and doors. So there really isn't any display space. And that's okay with me, because I don't really like to look at my other stuff when I'm focusing on what's on the easel. So I've set my easel up, so I have my back to everything else in the room. And I have set up the gallery outside the door of my room.
That's a good idea. I like that idea. It keeps you
Yeah.
less distracted and you can focus.
Yeah, and I sort of picked up a little bit for you today, but obviously these workspaces are, they're messy.
Or
So,
workspaces.
yeah, yeah. So that's one thing. Right now I'm sort of dreaming of taking a workshop in France.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's a dream.
So
and,
after the pandemic's over, that's what
yeah.
we
Well, I mean,
for
it's a
you.
dream. I don't know whether it's a possibility. And then, I mean, if we're talking about like win the lottery kind of dreams,
Well, as it pertains to art, so.
yeah. Well, no, I think it'd be fun to have my own gallery. It'd be fun to have my own gallery.
Wow.
So win the lottery.
Cool.
So I'll keep buying those tickets.
Well, let's talk a little bit more still about your art and your style. Here's the random question. Do you have a favorite color?
A random question. Well, they're not that meaningful until they work together. So I would tell you that blue is my favorite color, but as I look around, the few things that are in my studio are very orange, because they're blue skies and a little orange touches. So.
Yeah, when you do a little sunsets and stuff,
Yeah. So it's a little hard for me to talk about my art style and give myself a name, what tradition I fall in, because I don't have that much objectivity about that. I would feel much more comfortable if you said Joyce is a blah blah blah.
Well, I'm not going to say it like that.
You know what I mean? I'm not. I think that's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
I'm not an abstract artist, and as much as I like them and I admire that work, and I'm not a realist in the sense that maybe, I don't know. Do you consider yourself a realist?
I do.
Yeah.
A realist with an imagination.
Yeah. So I'm not that. I wouldn't consider myself a realist in that tradition, but I'm somewhere in the realistic tradition. I mean, if you looked at, if I had a better photograph of or better picture of the thing behind me, you could see that it is buildings.
I can kind of tell. So maybe you can send me that photo.
Right.
And I can add it to.
This room is under construction. So.
Oh yeah, that looks good. It's a little hard to see because of the light.
Yeah.
So
actually, this is a cradled panel. It's wood, so it's good.
Oh yeah.
It's tough. You got to be tough here in this studio.
I love the panels too. For a long time, that's all I was painting on. I didn't like the give of a canvas.
Yeah.
So do you tend to go back and forth between the canvases and the panels, or?
Well, every time I step up to canvas, it's an experiment, or to the easel, and so I'm always trying new materials and trying new techniques and stuff. So I can't say that I go,
Just
do
one
either
thing.
one. Sort of. I have some foam panels, which are actually very nice to work on.
Oh, I've never tried that.
Yeah, lightweight, very portable.
You'll have to show me that too. All right, well, let me ask you this. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Oh, that's a lot.
It's a deep one.
Well, so I'll tell you this, that I do my best work when things are very quiet. I do my best work alone in my studio. I love to be outside and to paint outside, but it's not a comfortable, creative experience for me. It's more like, gosh, I know this is good for me. And a lot of times I do come with something good. So I want to feel centered. I like to do yoga before I start to work. I don't do that all the time, but again, that's kind of the best frame of mind for me to be in. And I just like the quiet. A lot of times I will listen to, I find that music is disruptive to the process, but sometimes I listen to audiobooks.
Okay. So quiet and peaceful. Those are the things.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I'm aiming for in my art and in my life. The world is a very hyper stimulating place, and so I look to calm and peacefulness at home, and as an artist, one of the things that's very exciting is social media, and to go to Instagram and to just roll through and see what everybody's doing. And it's so inspiring and stimulating, but I can find that I can just get worked up about what is happening elsewhere, what other people are doing, and I'm better off to sort of shut it down.
So your art space is truly your spa, basically, for you.
It is. And this room that was here in the house, it was a screen porch, and only open on half a wall. So my realtor called it a sorry excuse for a screen porch. But that made it easy to turn into a year-round room. So this was our sunroom. It was sort of my happy space to begin with, but as you know, you can't be happy without air conditioning in South Carolina for more than 3 or 4 months a year.
Right.
So it's become my exercise space. It is still the path through from the kitchen to the garage. And it's turned into the space that, when my girlfriends stop by to have a glass of wine, we end up gravitating to this space.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
it still has my porch furniture on it, which is fine because it's pretty comfortable, and it's there you go, somebody's, I don't know, it's been kind of in the family.
Yeah.
And for the rest of it, I got the floor was it was like a wooden porch floor, and I kept that because it was perfect. It's painted. But when I converted the room, the contractor wanted to put like tile or something over it because you can't air condition a space that just has a wood floor with holes between them.
Right.
So that was really the biggest expense of turning this into a year-round space, is encapsulating underneath the
So
floorboard.
what's your favorite feature in the studio? What's your favorite part of the space?
I don't know. It's got white walls, and I like that. It's got windows on 3 sides, and it's kind of tonal. It's kind of grayish, and it's very quiet color-wise, and so it makes me feel like it's not competing with anything. But it's a nice place to take a nap.
So you go into your art studio to work and you end up falling asleep.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I love your brick walls. I'm totally envious of those brick walls. I know you can't hang stuff on them, but they are amazing. To have brick walls in an art studio is like my childhood vision of your art studio.
That's funny. Well, they were here. I mean, the house is brick, and so to have put 3 walls around it. But I'll see whether I can. I had thought I had set something up that I could show you the rest of the room, but let me see if I can do this a little bit. So these were things that were here. My little French clock. You can see there's the champagne bottle. So that little corner there is where I put my still lifes up. There's a bulletin board next to it that I try to keep clear because it distracts me, except for maybe a photograph when I'm painting.
So what's the purpose of the bulletin board if you don't want to put things on it?
Well, I want to put all kinds of things on it, but usually I'll put up a photograph that I'm trying to copy.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can get this. So that's the easel. That's my little corner. This is a piece that I don't know what this thing is, but it's like this industrial metal.
Does it have wheels on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. I think it was like a Restoration Hardware entertainment center.
Yeah, but it's perfect for all your art supplies.
It is. It's great, and you can't hurt it. So, and then this thing, this is the business corner of the studio, which, as you know, is kind of painful. There's you know, a little printer and a place where I can sort of file some stuff away, but that's always difficult.
Yeah, keeping the business separate from the creative side when you have a studio and you are a working artist can be difficult.
Yeah,
I don't want to really marriage them.
It really is. Here's the napping couch with the yoga equipment underneath. And I've got a library, you know, place for my books behind that. And then I don't know what you can see here, but there's that's where I keep my plein air stuff and equipment to go. So that's about it.
You work on one painting at a time generally? So you're not like, you don't have things drying and stuff like that you have to.
No, I definitely do have stuff drying. And no, I've got just about everything in this room is in the works. So, and a lot of times I'll, you know, turn away from it if I'm reaching a place that's difficult.
Yeah. Come back to it at another time when you look at it with different eyes.
Yeah. So I do have a lot of pieces that have stymied me at one point or another that are stacked up there, and I'm, you know, determined to get back to. So that actually is one of the hardest things for me to manage is, you know, every day something new many new things excite and inspire me, and I want to start something new. And then if you put that aside for the next new thing that excites you, it can be difficult to, complete everything and really.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that can be a hassle for some to complete works.
It takes a lot of discipline. It really does. And the whole process of, being inspired, doing the painting, doing the artwork, and then there's a lot of work after that. There's the framing and the naming and the photographing and the
naming. Yeah, that's a good one. Is there anything in particular that helps you when naming a painting? I didn't list that.
I'm really good at that. I think that's one of my strengths.
Naming a painting.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's fun. A lot of, it's fun to, I name a lot of them after songs or, little something. I've got I did a white on white composition that I really like, actually. I should have shown it to you, but I called it A Whiter Shade of Pale.
I knew that's what you were going to say when you said songs. I was like, that's the song. I know. Perfect.
Sugar Magnolia, I've used that one a lot. And I did I really had fun with some daffodils, and I was painting a still life of these daffodils, and one of them, I guess it was on a mirrored table, and one of them did like a face plant in the mirror. So I called it Narcissus. So I have fun with that. And I do like to write the descriptions about them on my website.
Which I will list below so that everyone can follow up for you as well to see your work there. Describe a day in your art studio. I know you said you usually start off with yoga, but when does your day start? How do you work throughout the day?
Yeah. I am best if I really, get those feet on the floor by 7 and get the yoga done by 8:15, and be able to cruise through, because otherwise, to get a late start, take a few phone calls and do a little of this and a little of that, by the next thing you know, it's lunchtime. So I do best that way. Every day.
You're a morning person?
No, I find that I accomplish more. I would never have called myself a morning person, really, but I find I accomplish more if I get a good start during the day.
Yeah.
And every day is different. Every day is different. I like having a big chunk of time. So today I had did a number of different little itsy things, and tomorrow I've got something in the morning and something in the afternoon. So I will, I will work on my art on the weekends, but particularly Sunday, I'm really looking forward to getting up and just spending the whole day.
Your art.
Yeah, on my art. I definitely do better when I have a big chunk of time.
Well, the pandemic has kind of created that for.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot more productive artists out there right now. They're stuck at home and
it's true. It's true, but I have not felt it as much as a lot of people because of that. Because I do like to be home, and I do like to be in my studio, work for big chunks of time. My husband works at home as well, and so we haven't. It hasn't been as painful for us, I think.
Yeah, you're not going stir crazy. because of it.
Well, we are.
The art, okay, so art crazy is different than
Right, right,
your
right.
art is getting you through it.
Right. I miss traveling. I miss going to see my family up north, and
Yeah,
so
I miss hugs, but that's
yeah, hugs. Yes.
yeah, hugs.
And it's just it's getting a little, it's getting a little old.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you have something to keep you occupied and happy. I'm glad I do too.
Yeah.
What's your favorite medium?
Oh, I'm an oil painter. I'm definitely an oil painter, and if I'm not painting on canvas or a board, I feel like I'm just doodling. Like a lot of oil painters will paint on paper and really like it, but it just doesn't feel like it's a, a commitment to me. So I want to feel like, oh, this is something significant.
Gotcha.
Um,
Do you have
so,
a particular brand of oils or anything like that that you
um,
really
so
committed to?
well, yeah. I mean, I think Gamblin is a great product. It's an excellent quality and it's a very good price. So you know, there are certain colors that other manufacturers make well, and then there's premium oil paints like Williamsburg that are great. But if you're not using those same products consistently, it's almost not worth bringing it in just for a little bit of this or that.
Do you
So,
keep a simple palette? I mean, do you use a lot of colors or do you keep your palette simple?
simpler all the time, all the time. And actually, when new painters are always intrigued by all of the colors, and but it makes it so much harder for them to learn. Um, and that everything comes from three primary colors, and so yeah, I've been working with three primaries, or sometimes a split primary of a warm and a cool of each of them. But and every once in a while, there's a reason to have a different color. Usually for me, because of the transparency. I really like to be able to block in a transparent, usually transparent oxide red, and so that's one reason. But for the most part, um, you can make them all from
Three colors.
three colors. And here I'll show you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, but I wanted to bring you my color charts, which I'm so proud of having actually done myself. And there's probably 500 colors here that I've made from 5.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
You
So
make those. Wow. That's amazing.
you
Did you
make
put the
them.
formulas and
Are you an oil painter, Michelle?
huh?
Are you an oil painter?
I have painted in oils, but I haven't been currently painting in oils.
So, this is yellow and a little bit of white and more white, more white. And then you have these, I don't know, these are probably 7, these are 35 or 40 colors. And then you can mix them all together, which is what the rest of all these things are. And yeah, I have done them myself. People buy them. You can buy something like that, but it doesn't show you how the colors work.
That's a really good practice. I mean, just to I mean, wow. That's very inspiring, Joyce.
It was a really good thing. And it's one of those things where you think, I'm too busy to stop and learn how to do this. And of course, otherwise you're just, doing the same stuff over and over. But I did that between Christmas and New Year's last year, in that week that was like a gift of quiet time. We weren't going anywhere. And it does take a while. It's a very good exercise to
Well,
do.
and you can do that with any medium. It doesn't have to be necessarily just
Right.
oils.
Right.
That's a good practice. I know I work a lot in acrylics, and I also work with inks and things like that too. So I have thought about doing it, but
Good idea.
on it. Now I feel lazy. Okay, so what about brushes, pencils? Do you have any preferences on those?
Gosh, you can spend a lot of money on brushes. I have, cans and cans full of them. And again, it doesn't really matter that much. I have found that the best brushes are, I really like Richardson brushes, and then there's a British company that makes them that's very, very affordable. They're synthetic, which I, started out doing, using bristle brushes with oil. Mm-hmm. But the ones that I'm using are synthetic. They'll last forever. You get a set of 10 of them for $100. And and I really like them. They're square, flat. Yeah.
And it's more flats than anything.
Yeah. It's amazing what you could do with flats, particularly with flowers, which you think are very,
round.
Yeah, and kind of fussy, but yeah, I'd like working with, again, a kind of limited number of brushes.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when you brought up about the synthetics, because I feel the same way. I think they've improved synthetics so much that I prefer them as well. Of course, mm-hmm. I'm not using oils, but with my brushes, I love synthetics too.
Yeah, you can spend a lot of money and really kind of experimenting to find what it is that works is a challenge. I'll tell you one of the things that challenges me the most is the frames, because it's challenging to find a good basic frame that shows off all of your work well and will work, sort of as a standard, that doesn't get really dinged up, mm-hmm. moving around. So I have not found the answer.
I don't have it. So what new medium would you love to try?
Well, I'm interested in trying gouache. So, gouache is a water-based medium that's sort of like watercolor, but it's opaque.
Yeah.
And it travels well. It's a lot of artists are using it for sketches and preliminary work. So
drying time is a whole lot quicker too than the oils.
Oh yeah, well that's not necessarily a plus, but yeah. So I've never used watercolors. I feel as somebody who didn't have a whole lot of drawing training, I rely a lot on the fact that oils can just cover up a multitude of sins, multitude of drawing sins, whereas with watercolors you really have to be very precise.
Yeah. My mother always called it the wild child of all the mediums. To tame it. What do you like about the art world?
Oh, I love so many things about the art world. And you know what I like best are artists. I love the artists. I really love working with them. I love getting to know them. I have to say, being at the Charleston Artists Guild, I have met so many really fun and interesting people who would never have crossed paths with me. And particularly at the Charleston Artists Guild, there are all these international people there. There are people, I've met people, artists there from Greece, from Italy, from Russia, from France, England. It's fascinating to me that in our little city, there is this amazing cosmopolitan bunch of artists. So I love working with the artists. I enjoy, their personalities and their differences. So, but there's a lot of things I like about the art world. I also, for all of that, I enjoy my quiet and my, peaceful, creative time. I do love the art walks, and I love the marching from gallery to gallery to see what's going on. So I miss that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully all that's going to be picking up soon. I know we're starting small,
Yeah.
but we are
Yes.
starting.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Draw. Learn to draw every day. That is really the thing that, is just so crucial, I think, no matter what you do. So if I were to go back all the way to give my younger self advice before I went to law school, I don't know that I would do it any differently. I don't know whether my life would have been better if I had, gone to art school. I've, kind of followed my nose. I've had an interesting journey. So I don't regret that at all.
Well, the path you took got you here anyway. So
right.
You're an artist, and you sell your work, and you're inspiring, and you teach. And tell me, do you have any current or upcoming exhibitions that you want to talk about?
I would love to be able to talk about an exhibition, but they haven't, there hasn't been any exhibits. I'm not involved in anything like that. I'm doing a workshop. I'm signed up for a workshop at the Gibbs in next month. And I'm looking forward to that. And that's being done in conjunction with the American Impressionist Society, which has a show at Reinert's Gallery on King Street. So I'm looking forward to that. I love the Gibbs. I think it's a great little museum.
Yeah.
And other than that, no, I have a few ideas for series that I would like to do. Can you tell us about that, or are you keeping that as a secret? As I mentioned to you before, I'm interested in skies.
Right.
I'm interested in clouds, and that just is, so big.
Yeah. Ever changing.
Ever changing, yeah.
You can't eat the same thing twice.
Exactly. So it's amazing and absorbing, and all you have to do is look up. You don't have to go to Europe.
Right.
So that interests me right now. And that's, I have a few other thoughts, but I'm going to keep them under my hat.
Okay. So we follow you on social media, maybe, to find that out.
That's right.
How do you market your work, Joyce? Do you use social media?
Yes, more and more. I think that Faso is a great product. It's terrific. I don't even know what
That's
it
who you
stands.
use for your website.
Yes, it's fine art, something or other, something.
I
or
know,
other.
I have the same one and I
Yeah.
can never remember what it stands for, except it's
I
good.
don't know, but it's terrific, and there's a lot of marketing advice there. And I'd like to think that the world will beat a path to my door. They'll knock on my door and say, "Hi, I'm here to buy your art." But it's a little bit more. You got to put yourself out there a little bit more than that. So that's not my favorite part of the art thing, but I'm getting more comfortable with it, and it's.
It can be difficult to sell yourself.
Yes,
You know?
it's not my first nature to say, hey, I'm just this terrific artist and you should buy everything I make. uh, but when you think of it in terms of, there are people out there who are interested in your work, and it's your job to help them find it.
Yeah. So where do we find your work if they want to purchase your work?
So you would find my work at joyceerb.com. You would find it at Charleston Artists Guild Gallery, or at my home studio and gallery, which is available with appointment.
Okay. Well, we'll have all that information.
Yeah.
Do you welcome commissions?
Yes, I do. Initially, that's something that artists are a little, can be a little bit uncomfortable about. But I started out when I took my first commissions, saying to the client, you know what my work is like, you've seen my work, and I'm happy to do something for you that's along the lines of what you've seen. And I actually, when I started out, I did not even take any upfront payment. I just did it all on a handshake and said, if you don't like it, I'll keep it. Because I kind of took the attitude that I wasn't going to paint anything that I wouldn't be proud to put my name on anyway. So the only thing, very early on, I did do a portrait for someone, which, was a little bit of a stretch for me at the time. And that was something I wouldn't necessarily have enjoyed hanging on my wall.
If you had to keep it, it was somebody else's face.
Yeah, for somebody else's granddaughter. But for me, it was kind of a sign of good faith. I really did not want, I'm perfectly comfortable with contracts, but I really didn't want my relationship with the person who I was creating something for to be, feel like a legal transaction. So,
but you have to protect yourself as an artist, so that's
right. And so what I do with a commission, and what I would encourage anybody to do is, I do it in the frame it in terms of an email, and don't say, this is this, our contract, you're going to sign it, you're going to give me this, and
yeah,
I'm going to give you that. It's more of a matter of describing what it is I'm going to do and what I expect from the client. So yeah, I do welcome commissions, just as long as they don't get too specific about what they want you to do.
Yeah, occasionally there's micromanagement clients who like to tell you exactly where to put things and how they, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I have a friend who, she was doing a commission, and they said, well, I want you to put this person in it and then take this person from this photograph and put them in there and make sure you fit the dog in the middle. And none of the stuff was in the initial source material. So it can be very difficult, particularly, get the lighting in those situations right.
Plus you have to figure out what is in that person's vision. It may not be exactly what you're seeing,
Right.
And that can be a difficult thing for people, for other artists who are trying to take commissions.
Sure.
They don't necessarily,
Sure.
especially if a person doesn't explain it correctly. It's read their minds. So
right, you kind of have to set your parameters and say, you understand how I paint and what my work.
Right. Right. They should be familiar with your art first before they,
Right. Exactly.
How would you like to be remembered?
Oof. Oh gosh, Michelle, I haven't thought that much about that. I'd like to be remembered as somebody who grew and developed throughout my career. And, I don't want to be stuck in one place. I don't want to be the lady who painted Tiffany boxes. Although I enjoyed that. So I don't know where this will take me.
So wandering.
Oh,
wandering and growing.
I'm going to grow. I'm going to follow my nose. I'm going to see what where it takes me.
Well, so done well so far. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I feel like that's sort of the definition of freedom, is the ability to, follow life where it takes you. Mm-hmm. And I've been surprised. I've been surprised where my life has taken me. So I hope there's some more surprises in store.
Well, it's nice that we can all enjoy your journey with your artwork. I appreciate that. So one final question.
Yeah.
Has being I know you've already talked about the Charleston Artists Guild a little bit, but has being an exhibiting member of the Charleston Artists Guild, or even a member before you were an exhibiting member, helped you as an artist, and how?
Oh, yes, very much so. So before I was an exhibiting member of the Charleston Artists Guild, I sold my work. I, had sold my work through my home and whatever, but to have the assignment, basically, that you have 5 feet or 7 feet to show everything you do, to pull it all together and put it up there. It's very informative, because you put, your best work up there, and there you are as an artist. It's very descriptive, I guess, and instructive in a way that just having a few pieces here or there may not be. But it's also, it's a very big, it's very helpful to understand what goes into being an exhibiting artist that you might not understand beforehand. I did talk about all the work that's involved in framing and varnishing and naming and finalizing, and then schlepping it all down there and putting it up and organizing it. And it's at least half of the work of being an artist. Yeah. It's a lot.
If you weren't in the gallery, though, just the guild in itself, how's it benefited you? Like the meetings and, because you've been a member of the guild for a while, even before you were in the gallery, right?
Very, very briefly. Yeah, I mean, it's an introduction to the Charleston art scene. which is amazing. And as I said, the opportunity to meet all these different people, I've made a lot of friends there. And some people who you just say hi to and enjoy chatting with a little at the parties. And then I've made some really good friends there. And people who, I go out and plein air paint with regularly, or, so it's been, a very important part of my life. So, and it's, it's big. It's a volunteer organization. There's a lot of people, and it's been a great experience. I'd recommend it to anyone who wants to show their work.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, do you have any further things that you wanted to bring out that I didn't ask? Or
I can see whether I can share some photographs of my work that might not fall down on my head, but could be tricky. Let me see what I can do here.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
beautiful.
Thank you. That's Daniel Allen Morning. And that was a fun painting to do. And actually, I might share on my social media at some point, because when I started this, and I probably did this painting 3 years ago, maybe 4, I started 2 pieces from just about the same shot, same photograph that I took at the same time, except the other one was, I don't know, maybe I crouched down so it looks like it's on a hill.
Uh-huh.
But I started blocking it in, and then it was one of those things I put aside and never finished. And I took it out when I was moving my studio, and I thought, I only spent like a fifth of the work that I did on this, and I think I like it better. So I'd be interested to share that on my social media and see what people think.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me.
Great. Thanks so much, Michelle. It was a pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye.